basically, Beccy need more socks, is what I'm saying. Hello and welcome back to my podcast. This is episode 6 of my podcast, which I'm rebranding Beccy Knits. I think that's just quite clear about what we're talking about. Me, Beccy, knitting. So yeah, this is the second time that I've recorded episode 6 of this podcast. Tried to record on Thursday when my oldest son was at nursery, and I had my littlest son, and it was noisy and not smooth, and yeah, so we're just doing it again. So yeah, and actually it's quite good because I've started a new project since then. I have more post has arrived, so I've got more to talk about, so there we go. It has been like 5 weeks, I think, since I last recorded, and that is way longer than I had wanted to leave it between episodes, but life just completely got in the way, and yeah, but I am planning on trying to get like a every other week kind of routine going on. We'll see, fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. If not, it's just going to be sporadic, but we'll see. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm wearing before we get started, which means I should have obviously looked at the pattern name and the designer before I started recording, but I didn't do that. So this is Party Top by Abby Knits. It's a really nice cropped little t-shirt thing. I think I spoke about this way back when I first started the podcast last year or the year before. I feel like I have spoken about this before, but yeah, it's really nice. It's got a little bit of sparkle in it. I can't remember what the yarn is called. If I remember, I'll put it in the project. I'll link the project page and it'll be on there. So it has got a bit of sparkle in it. It's not actually the top that I was wearing today, but I think I was wearing the same jumper that I was wearing in the last episode. So I decided that in the interests of interest, I would wear something different. So yeah, it's quite comfortable though. I quite like it. It's very cropped. I knit it for a Christmas party, and my plan was to wear a dress or a high-waisted skirt under it, and I was pregnant at the time, so I just wanted like all the space for my bump, but now it's just very cropped, and like even high-waisted jeans are not going to come up to the bottom of this top, so I think I just need to decide what kind of top I would have to wear underneath it, because I'm not really, after 2 babies, not embarrassed about my tummy, but I don't want to like have it out unnecessarily. So yeah, to be fair, pre-baby I wasn't the kind of person who was comfortable having my tummy out. I tried to be that person and I wasn't. I want to be that person who just wears a crop top and doesn't care. But anyway, that's totally off topic. So let me get my notes. I was actually organised and made notes because I don't normally do that. So let's see. We'll start with where you can find me on the internet. I have just changed the name of my Instagram account so that it is again in line with my podcast. So you can find me on Instagram at Beccy Knits, Beccy with 2 C's, Beccy Knits, and yeah, and then I am on Twitter. I'll link that down below, and there is a Ravelry group, but I know there's a lot of accessibility problems at the moment, and so I'm not really gonna do much with the Ravelry group right now. So you can go there if you like, and if you want to say hi, then when I do log into Ravelry I'll check it and I can say hi as well. But yeah, I'm not going to be like leaving any show notes there or really doing anything with Ravelry at the moment. But I will be linking project pages on Ravelry, and then also tagging. My plan is to tag any makers on the Instagram post that I will post with this podcast. So if you're able to use Ravelry, then there will be links there, but also hopefully I'll be able to tag all of the makers and yarn dyers, everything like that, in the post over there. So without further ado, let's talk about my knitting. I'm going to go with finished objects first. So I'm going to put a picture of this first finished object in because I have worn them already and I don't want to show you my like already worn socks. I finished my colour palette socks, which is a pattern by Laurel Knits, and I used the white was West Yorkshire Spinners, their signature 4-ply, and then the colours were from Skein and Stitch, and that's her Sunset Lovers mini set. I don't know whether she still has that available. I'm not sure if she does. I think I might have got the last one. But yeah, she does some really, really beautiful yarn. And so definitely head over and check out Jess, because she's a good dyer. I like her. She's very good. And then the only other two things I really have to show you are like half finished objects. I have got so many pairs of socks and things on the needles at the moment. They're all getting loads of love, but because there's lots of them, not a lot of stuff is really getting finished. So, and I'm okay with that. That's not a complaint at all. But yeah, it does mean that things aren't getting finished quite as quickly. I find that I definitely have to be in the mood for knitting ribbing, knitting a heel, you know, a toe, whatever. So it works out quite well that I've got a few things on the go at once because they're all at different stages. So here we go. This is the first hoe, and it is Regia yarn. I'm just calling these my purple vanilla socks. They are very nice, pleased with them. And I've got the next one started. I've kind of started, here it is. I've kind of started, so that I don't get any like second sock syndrome, I've started leaving a little bit of the first sock to finish up before I start the second sock. So, no, sorry, that doesn't make sense. That's not what I do. I'm leaving enough of the first sock that I will have time to finish the first sock and then cast on the second sock straight away. So if I'm knitting in the evening, for example, and I know that I've just got like a tiny little bit of toe left, but I haven't got time to cast on the second sock, then I will just leave it with a little bit left and I'll put them down and I'll just pick something else up. And then, you know, the next day when I sit down to knit, I will finish the first sock and cast the second sock on. Even if I just do a couple of rounds and then move on to something else, that's what I'm trying to do, is finish the first and immediately start the second. And it's been really good at like busting that second sock syndrome, which was just always just chronic. Chronic second sock syndrome. I just couldn't ever bring myself to cast on that second sock, but this seems to be a pretty good method, because then I'm kind of just like pretending it's the first sock still. It's just, you know, a pair of socks is just one project, and so I'm just moving smoothly on to the next sock. So there we go. That's the first one. And yeah, the colour palette socks I did actually kind of changed how how my sock knitting was going for really positively, and it started me doing running markers in my socks, and this has just been a game changer for me really, because I now have socks that fit me and that are the same size. I used to do it by measuring, and it, you know, one day I would be like sick of knitting a sock, so I'd be like pulling it, but yeah, it's that's the right size, that's fine. And then the next sock I'd probably just like forget that I was supposed to start doing a toe at some point, and I would have like a stupidly long sock. Whereas with the running marker, I pass it back and forth every 5 rows, and now I know how long my socks need to be in order to finish them. So yeah, this one has got the toe that I usually do. I don't know what it's called, but just the is it a box toe? I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, that kind of toe. That's that side. Sorry, my camera's the other side. That's the kind of toe I normally did, but it wasn't able to get an exact like multiple of 5 and get the perfect fit. So I do, what was this? So this was 50, after the gusset decreases I did 50 and then did my toe. These are on, I want to say 2.75 millimeter needles, and that fits okay. I think it's a little bit small, but I think 5 extra rows would have been too many. So I've actually changed needle size. These were the needles I used to use. I think they're Addies. I think they're either, I think they must be 2.75, and I always use 2.75 millimeter needles, and I just found that the fabric wasn't quite right on my socks. It was always just a bit floppy. So I switched to using 2.25s, and I thought it was gonna make a huge difference. I might have to knit bigger socks and things like that, but it hasn't had a negative impact on my sock knitting at all. It's just made me much happier with my socks. So when I knit on 2.25 mil needles, I can do 70 stitches. After the gusset, I think it's 70. No, 65. 65 rows, so gusset, 65 rounds, and then I do this, is it, I don't know the name of the toes, the star toe, where you do sort of spiral on the bottom, and this is a perfect fit, perfect. So I'm really pleased to have found that, because this is the toe that you do on the colour palette socks, and I was really apprehensive, thinking I'm never going to get a toe on the end of here and have them fit me, but it was a short, quick toe, so it was perfect. This is my second half finished object, and it is, I'm calling these my Parma Violet socks. If you saw them on my Instagram account, you'll see that I'm like, they just remind me of the Sweets Parma Violets. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners Wood Pigeon colourway. Here it is in the ball. It's so pretty. This was I got 2 balls of this as my Mother's Day present, and yeah, it's so pretty. I really like it, and it just fit perfectly with the leftovers from my colour palette socks. So the heels cuff's toes are Skein and the Stitch Sunset Lovers mini set, and then the heel turn is a little contrast again of another one of the mini sets from Jess. This is like a little feature that I saw Carrie from she's Stolen Minutes on Instagram, and she does a podcast called One More Row with the Crazy Sock Lady, and she did this, and now I just want all of my socks to have this little contrasting heel turn. The second sock, here it is the same, but I've used the dark colour for the cuffs, heel flap and will for the toe, and then I have put the lighter colour, which has been for my heel turn. I just think it's really sweet having that little different coloured heel turn. It's just simple, but really nice. I had this really cute idea, and I don't know whether it would work, to pick a colour, let's say blue, and this year 2021 would be blue, and so whenever I was knitting just a plain sock, no matter what colour the yarn was, I would just do the heel turn in blue, and that would be it, and then it would be kind of like a colour coding system, so that I knew when I knit them, because I feel like something like this, you know, this was like my Mother's Day present this year, so I can kind of remember it for that. Like the colour palette socks will be on my Ravelry, and so they will have like a date and everything of when I knit them, so that'll give me an idea as well when I knit them, because this yarn is featured in these socks, so there's like hints already in these socks of when they were made. But in this one, it can be really easy to forget how old a pair of vanilla socks are, so I thought if I just put a little, I've not done it obviously because I only had this idea the other day, but if I just put like on the heel just a little colour coded blob, would that be weird? I think that would be a really cool idea. I might actually message Carrie from Stolen Minutes about that, because I actually think that's a pretty good idea. So I'm gonna do that. I'm totally gonna do that. So anyway, yeah, so those are my 2 half finished objects and 2 of my current whips. I have 2 other works in progress that I'm going to show you. The first one is another pair of socks, because you can never have too many pairs of socks. And these are just a pair of Shorty Socks, and they are scrappy socks as well. So I'm using some leftover yellow. I don't even know why I have this. Literally cannot think of anything that I have made in yellow, so I have no idea, but I don't have a full whatever this is of it. So what is this? Okay, and then some white West Yorkshire spinners. I just need to buy like 100 balls of this white because it's just great for everything. And here are my little Shorty Socks. Yeah, I'm just alternating every 2 rows. And again, I've done the yellow on the bottom, and I particularly liked it in these socks because if I had done so I did obviously the white at the top and then yellow, white, yellow, and then if I'd then picked this up as the white, and if I hadn't done this, then the next colour then the colour that I would have been on would have been white. There'd have been too much white, basically. So, yes, because the heel, all of this, the heel flap would have been, the heel turn would have been white as well. So all of this back bit here would have been white. But it meant then that I just liked how it worked out. So it worked out. In my head it made really perfect sense, but I quite like it now because, yeah, it's just nice to have that. I feel like the stripes just look better going round now than they would have done if I'd gone all down with white. And then it made sense in my head, but I think it works out anyway. My reasoning is now not as strong as it was before, but it's fine because it looks nice. But anyway, so those are my other project. I just needed some summer socks really. I've only got one pair of like Shorty Socks, and I am only knitting hand knits. I am only wearing hand knit socks right now, so I needed more summer socks. I kind of intend to just get rid of all of my regular non-hand knit socks and just get rid of those, and then just knit loads of socks and just knit hand knit socks. Just wear hand knit socks. I'm very tired. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very tired. Basically, Becky needs more socks, is what I'm saying. I do have another project on the go that is not socks. I'm just getting all of this out of here. I can show you later. And the other project that I'm working on is a love note by Tin Can Knits. And this is as far as I have got. I am on the just finished the second row of the first chart repeat, and I love it. The yarn is a Debbie Bliss yarn, but I have dyed it. It was just white when I bought it, and I dyed it using onion skins, which was an exciting experience. But I am so pleased with how the colour turned out. I think it's slightly more goldeny, slightly darker in real life, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And yeah, I have been planning on making a love note with this for probably almost a year, and I just didn't do it. And then on Friday night, it's Sunday the 18th of April today. On Friday night I went to a knit night organised by Jess of Skein and the Stitch. She's setting up a yarn event called Fibre Block Party, and she did a Zoom knit night which I went along to, which was great fun. I just sat quietly mostly and just absorbed all of the knitterly goodness, because it was just so nice to hear knitters talking about knitting, because I haven't been to a knit night for about 4 years. It's probably been more recent than that, 3 years. Something like that. It's been a long time since I've been to a knit night, and I was just craving it, and it was so nice to just sit there and listen to other knitters talk. And they were talking about Love Note, and I just came away totally enabled. So I just immediately cast it on. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's quite nice change to have the big needles in my hands versus the like tiny sock needles, so that's really nice. And I am going to cast on, or recast on, a brioche tiles shawl by Suzanne Sommer. That's a pattern by Suzanne Sommer, and I cast that on last year. I think I talked about it in a podcast last year, and started knitting on it, and then at some point I miscounted and it all got a little bit weird, and then I thought I could fudge it. No. And then I just decided that it needed to go away, and then I lost all my knitting mojo, and then it's just been sat on my shelf for I don't know how long. Is this one still? No. And then that was another project that another pattern that people were talking about on Friday night. Ted Knits, who dyed the yarn that I knit the project in, he was singing the praises of the pattern, and I just thought I need this shawl. So that's what I'm going to cast on this evening. I'm going to cast on the Brioche Tiles by Suzanne Sommer in a yarn by Ted Knits. So more on that next time, hopefully, and hopefully more of the love note. Maybe I'll even be wearing my love note when I next record. That would be exciting. I hope that the colour of the yarn is going to be okay next to my skin. I think so. Yes, I think it'll be fine. Good. I've got like a beige cardigan, and it's not a good like combination with my skin tone. Don't know. Just makes me look ill. It just makes me look like I'm part of the sweater. So I'm glad that that one is a bit more golden. Ooh, I had an exciting adventure in yarn dyeing, and I'm going to show you what I have got. So Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady, is doing her summer sock camp again this year, and there was some official yarn that you could buy if you wanted to, and it was beautiful, but with like exchange rates and not exchange rates, with customs charges and shipping costs, I just couldn't really afford to buy it and get it shipped over, which was disappointing. And then I thought, well, why don't I just dye my own yarn? So it is something that I have done before, so I thought, well, I can give it a go. And I just used food colouring and vinegar, and I am very pleased with the results that I got. So this one, I've even named them so that I can just keep they're on like the summer sock camp theme. So this one is Day at Camp. I looked at the logo and just thought about what I kind of imagine a sock camp would be like, and I just imagined like sitting in the sun, like it being warm, you having like cozy, like soft socks in your hand, and this was just what came to me. There should have been little bits of green in, but you can't really speckle with the kind of food colouring that I've got. I think if you've got like, I've seen some people have like powdered food colouring, and I think you could do it with that, but I had like a gel and I couldn't get speckles, but I mean you can see a little bit here, but yeah, so that's the first one. That's Day at Camp. And then this one is Camp by Night, and I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. It's kind of almost iridescent, so there's some really nice greens and purples. Yeah, pleased with that. And then this one was something like knitting, like socks by Campfire or something like that. Yeah, I think I can't really pick a favourite. I feel like this maybe, but then this one, and this one's nice too. So I don't know which one my favourite is. So these two I just dyed in a skein, as you might expect yarn to get dyed, but this one was caked up, and I had some dye mixture left to exhaust, and I just put the cake in the dye mixture, and then I got like a medicine syringe and like injected the yarn with the orange food colouring. It felt like some sort of potions experiment, chemistry magic, and it worked. So these are my very exclusive yarns for summer sock camp. So my plan for Kay's summer sock camp is to knit these 3 yarns into 3 pairs of socks during the, I think, 3 months that sock camp runs. So there we go. That was my that's my like non-knitting adventures for this month, which I really enjoyed. And then I've got quite a lot of post to show you. I was going to talk about a project that I'd like to cast on, but having just said that I'm about to cast on a shawl, I think I'm probably going to leave this for a later date. I was going to cast on a Musselburgh hat. It's a pattern by Isolde Teague, but I think I might stick a pin in that and wait. For a little while. So that's on pause. I have bought myself quite a lot of new sets of needles. Like I said, I recently switched from knitting on like 2.75s to knitting on 2.5s, so I've been exploring different needles. I got these ones are Knit Pro Zings, and I really like those. I also picked up a pair or a set, or two sets I should say, of Higher Sharps, and they are sharp. You could do some damage with those. So I got two sets of those. I also got a set of Higher Sharp 9-inch circulars, and because I had a pair of 9-inch circulars, but they were 2.75 or 3 mil, so they were quite big, and then my gauge is a bit looser in the round, so the sock was just massive. So they'll be useful for like if I do sleeves and things like that. So they won't go to waste, but they're definitely not for socks. And then these two are Knit Pro Zings fixed circulars in a 3 mil and a 2.75 mil, because I wanted to cast on a Tenya, which I've been talking about for I don't know how long, but I wanted to cast one on and realised I didn't have the right needles for the gauge, and while I was buying other needles I thought I will pick those up as well. So that was all exciting post, and then I also took part in a little de-stash on Instagram and picked up this beautiful by Nora George yarns, and it is the Quidditch colourway from her Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club May 2018. So I am excited about that. I was going to cast on a pair of Rhinebeck Roomies by Crazy Sock Lady, but I think I might have enough on, plus the shawl that I'm going to cast on later. So I think I might pop this back up here as well, and they can be the next thing that I cast on once I cast off something here. I think these Parma Violet socks will probably not take me too much longer, so you won't have to wait long, beautiful yarn. Your time will come. I also got in with my Higher Sharps. I ordered those from a homespun house, and she added a little mini skein set. I think she was doing like a deal, like a special offer where when you ordered on a certain day you got some free mini skeins, so that's exciting. So these are buttered pecan, apple crisp and wild oat. They are very pretty, so they will go in a scrappy blanket. I have got on a separate order from a homespun house, I got this sock set, and this is Iva and Blackberry Jam, and this is on the Gold Stellina base, so it's 80% superwash merino, 15% nylon Stellina, and then this one is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So these are going to go back up here as well, because again, I have plenty on, but those are just really beautiful. And I also got a progress keeper when I bought these. I think it was a Simply Serving. I want to say Simply Serving. No. Not sure who it was by. Not sure who it was by, but it was the Grim from Harry Potter, when he like drinks the tea and then the tea leaves in the bottom. That. In fact, I'm explaining it, but it's right here. So cute. There it is. The Grim. So that's by far my favourite film. So I'm all about The Prisoner of Azkaban. Put those back up there as well. And and last but not least, another from Jess at Scale and the Stitch. This is her Bouquet of Roses sock yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and this is just spring in a skein, in my opinion. It's so pretty, and I really want to cast on socks with this, so maybe I'm now looking at that and thinking that maybe it might have to wait a little bit longer. But then there's also a big part of me that's just thinking, just cast on the yarn now. I think I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Otherwise I'll just be totally overwhelmed and I'll have no time, and then it'll just be but yeah. So that's that. And I think that is everything I was going to talk to you about. Let me just consult my notes. That was all of the fibery knitting content that I was going to mention. Other than that, I was just going to like chat, really. I've got a cup of tea and everything. It's going to hopefully be cool enough now. So my little boy has expressed an interest in knitting. He'll be 3 in June, and I was knitting on my 9-inch circulars, and he came over and wanted to have a go. So he did actually manage like 4 or 5 stitches, with, you know, encouragement and guidance from me. But yes, he managed it, and that's really cool. And I mentioned that we've got an app for his nursery, and you can like log observations of your child at home, things that they do that the nursery might be interested to know. And so I took a picture of him knitting and mentioned it on the observation app, and they sort of responded, and they can kind of give you ideas of like next steps, like how to further this interest or further develop, like, I don't know if it's like a fine motor skill or a gross motor skill, give you ideas on how to progress through that. And they said that they would like get some knitting needles and yarn to have at the nursery so that he can do it at the nursery, so that was really fun. I don't know if they've got them yet. I was kind of like, should I offer to help them knitting? But at the moment it's just like not practical with COVID and everything. They're obviously going to be careful about having weird people in, so or random people in, I should say. So I haven't offered yet, but if it comes up later I might do. So yeah, every time I get my knitting out, he's saying, can I knit, can I knit? So I kind of need to figure out the best way for him to learn to knit. I still think he's probably a little bit too young, hasn't quite got the fine motor skills to do it, but I want to encourage that, so we'll see. He seemed to do better with the circular needle than with the straight needle, so yeah, I think I might have a look, maybe get him some slightly chunkier maybe metal needles, so that, I don't know, I might get him some of his own needles though and cast a few things on for him and he can have a play. Hopefully another 2 weeks or so and I'll be back with finished objects, probably lots and lots more socks, and yeah, let's see how we go. So thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe. If people still like YouTube videos, then do that as well. And head over to Instagram and follow me there. I am like quite chatty at the moment on Instagram, so I'm really enjoying that, chatting to lots of new people. So come and chat to me on Instagram, let's chat. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!